I think this season has given us an opportunity to look wider than just a Sunday gathered church, and look at some of the models of church that has been gathered throughout 2,000 years. And so they gathered in homes, they gathered in twos and threes, and they gathered in the temple, and they gathered in the oikos. And so for us, it's given us a chance to just think about, what does a gathered church? We think it's absolutely important that a church gathers together around family and friendship and connection. That gathers together to worship and to praise God, and to gather together to hear what the Spirit is saying, what's happening in the life of individuals through teaching and preaching and discussion, but also gather to minister to one another. And so for us, it's vitally important that the church gathers together.
Still live streaming. So right from the beginning, we started live streaming the service. We kind of gathered together in our Balham site, and we live streamed worship, preaching, had online ministry, and we're continuing that, but now we're gathering people together in person as well. So we have space for about 35 people within the hall. And then, so it's partly like a broadcast studio, but partly an actual meeting as well. And then that's being broadcast to people's homes. We're encouraging people to meet in groups of 6 where they can, whether that's going to change or not, who knows. And then so we're a multi-site church. So we've got another venue in Battersea, and that launches or reopens in 2 weeks' time. So what we'll be doing there is they'll be having live worship and connecting together and ministering to each other, but then we'll be live streaming in the preach from the Balham site. And I guess as time goes on, that's what the model is. And so we'll open up more and more sites and venues to be able to gather together, to worship together in smaller communities, but then be able to like live stream a preaching, which is the harder thing maybe to kind of organised on mass really. And
our small group model, we've just adapted it for this coming season, where we want to, in the same way, come together and listen to some teaching of our values and vision for this next couple of months, to give our leaders a break, but also to kind of look at what's the new, building some new foundations for discipleship, for following Jesus, for discovering our purpose. And then as 2021, as we kind of land into 2021, we believe in the value of small groups and gathering in small groups that are kind of the lifeblood of the church. So the opportunity for leadership development and equipping the saints and increasing the value on personal discipleship, spiritual formation, enabling personal evangelism, or even our compassion ministries, where people would send people to a project. What could I do as an individual, as a follower of Christ, to be Jesus' hands and feet? So some of our lean-ins in this next season are much more about equipping people for that personal relationship with Jesus and extending the kingdom personally, rather than go to an event or go to a project or go to a church service. And so look beyond COVID. What's it going to be like in a year's time or 3 years' time? And providing smaller groups in local area. We've gone from being global to a lot more local, where we know our neighbours a bit more, we walk the streets a bit more. And so what would that look like for mission and ministry to have a kind of local focus? So we're encouraging our leaders in our multi-site model that in your neighbourhood or in your locality, that could there be smaller sites and smaller hubs of light.
I think it is just hard. Like, the reality is that when we are gathering, people have got face masks on. We can't sing. We're having to socially distance, and that's just, it is definitely a factor. And then in that, just the sort of, how do we do kids church? How do we do youth? How do we engage some of the young people that are just sort of on the periphery of what's going on when we can't really gather with them as well? So those are some of the cons. Any other pros and cons?
I think some of the issues going forward for us would be around mental health. I guess loneliness will be another huge area. I think relationships, the strain on all kinds of relationships, and those whether it's marriage or single or the people are divorced, and there's a whole bunch of pastoral issues that have come up during this season, which I think is part of our pastoral ministry going forward as well.
And I think it's just very hard to disciple people. I think that it's really hard to actually know how people are doing. And, you know, we're staring at a camera every week, and we're seeing 30 people now, which is different. But just to actually know how people are doing, and you just know that when you see them, as opposed to like, how do you actually know what's going on through a text or through a call or anything? So definitely challenges pastorally, discipleship wise. But also there's just an opportunity, like we saw 3 Alpha courses just take off where we've struggled to launch Alpha courses before. So there's opportunities, but there are also definite disadvantages as well. And
so just personally, being on a camera each week has been a challenge in terms of insecurities, and I'd rather be a bit more tactile with people than stare down the barrel of a Canon lens. And we had some visitors who turned up, and so that was really exciting. That, you know, the insecurities at the beginning were, will we have a church at the end? And then to see during lockdown just how God's been, just people coming to faith through lockdown, stories of life, a miracle are happening. And so we're excited about whatever post-COVID looks like. We're excited about, actually, even though life's uncertain, we can create some vision and some certainty in the middle of this this time of change and uncertainty.